All right, we are live, guys. It is the second Wednesday of December, our final month of 2021. And if you were tuned in last week, you would have heard from Melanie as she did the new coach kickoff call for the month of December. If you didn't catch that, no big deal. It should be in the team pages under the file section. You can always grab that recording. But the whole idea of the way these training calls work throughout each month is that we cycle through a series of topics that are the most important as you're starting your business. Obviously, week one, we have that kickoff call. And then this week, we'll dive into month one goals, some things that we really want to focus on how you guys can leverage 9-week control freak and that opportunity we have here, because this is a little bit different than a typical month. And then we'll have 2 more series of calls throughout the month of December. And this does repeat itself every month. So if you are, maybe you were a coach before and you're coming back as a refresher, maybe you started in October and then life happened, you can always jump in on these. We cycle through them. Different coaches lead them. My name is Megan Blinka. I am obviously leading this week's call, but each Wednesday you'll hear from a different coach on the team that will walk you through these basics. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen and hopefully stay on track as we go through this today. But like I said, this is our week one call. A few things that I will be going over as we go through. If there's something specific that you're hoping to hear that you didn't, by all means, drop it in the chat bar. I'll check that periodically as we go throughout and be sure to answer those questions before we end the call. But we really want to talk about your first goals as you're starting out in your business, understanding the business activity tracker, because this truly is, no matter if you are in week one, year 10, it doesn't matter. The basics of what we do as a coach really are simplified and broken down in that business activity tracker. And you're able to use that tracker to align to your own specific goals and really mold that as you build your business. Leveraging 9-week control freak as we're crafting our posts throughout these first months and getting things started. And then we're obviously going to talk about inviting, because our posts are great. That is one way where we can kind of cast the net out there and see, who wants to be a part of it. But really the bread and butter of this business is inviting. It's having conversations as a person with another person, understanding what their goals are, what their needs are, what they've done, what's worked, what hasn't, and how you as the coach are able to bring in that unique piece where we're not just selling a thing, but we're actually there to help support them along the way, every step of the way, to get them from buying from us, right? Like that purchase, to actually getting the results. So that's what it's all about. So going forward here, month one, write it on a Post-it, a piece of paper. These are the bare minimum things. And then obviously, if you want to be a little go-getter, you can set them higher than this, but you want to enroll your first 3 customers or coaches. Think about whatever you enrolled with. When I got started, I was started with the 21-day fix. It was a launch. It was, February, almost 7 years ago, that I did the 21-day fix. So when somebody was like, what are you doing? Or when I'm reaching out saying, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm so excited, I just enrolled them with 21-day fix. I didn't try to understand that Chalene Johnson had released this other program that was like, I didn't worry about all that other stuff. I didn't worry about all the other trainers and all the other programs, because at the beginning, I didn't know any of that. And while it's awesome that we have these resources, and when you get Beachbody On Demand, you know that you get, hundreds of workouts to choose from, but don't focus right now on trying to understand every single program. Focus on what you know. Invite them to what you're doing. If they don't like that, yes, by all means, you can explore other options, but really think about, what did you start with? What are you doing? And invite people to do that exact same thing with you. So for example, if you just signed up on Monday or Sunday night with the 9-week control week sample, then you would be inviting people to come do this brand new program with you, and you would be able to talk to them. It's only 5 days a week, and it's 18 to 30-minute workouts, and we're going to have a variety of different types of workouts. We're going to use this ball, we're going to use this control track, and you can talk to them just the way you would talk to a friend. But the first thing you want to think about, who are those 3 people? Now, you don't have to do it right now, but maybe make a note to yourself to start making a list. Some people will call this a dirt list. It's the people who would buy dirt from you if you were selling it, because they just love you that much. So maybe it's your college roommates, your best friends, your cousins, your sisters, your mom, your dad, your in-laws, whatever it may be. And think about, who are those first couple people who are going to jump in with you, not necessarily because they understand what you're doing or you understand what you're doing yet, not necessarily because you have these jaw-dropping transformation side-by-side pictures that are just going to make them say, yes, I'm in. But the people who just are like, oh my gosh, you're doing this thing, and I want to support you. I'll give you a couple of mine that were the first people who joined with me. One was my sister. She is active duty in the military. And at the time when I signed up, she was deployed with the Navy. I knew that she always complained about how bad the Navy food was on the ship. They couldn't get really, fresh vegetables all the time, and it was really limited. I was like, oh my gosh. I emailed her, with a phone caller, and I was like, I just signed up. This is what I'm doing. I know you always say that the food's awful on the ship. You should be my first customer and buy Shakeology. I think it will help you. Now, she actually was familiar with what Shakeology was, had never tried it before, but she was like, you know what? I'll do it to support you. It's been almost 7 years, and my sister still drinks Shakeology and gets Shakeology sent to her house every single month. Not because I needed her to, I need her to do that now, but because 7 years ago I had the enough, courage to say, hey sis, will you support me? So some people, you might post on social media and they might be like, okay, not everyone's going to see what you post, which is why reaching out to these people directly matters so much. Another one was my mother-in-law. She was one of the very first people. Again, that was very much she was not going to do the workouts, but she would do the Shakeology. She would support me. She would try it. Another one who's still today, almost 7 years later, drink Shakeology every day. Another one was my mom. My sister-in-law was one who started, I think she was probably a customer of mine for maybe like a year and a half. She's not anymore. So some of them are going to stick. Some might buy from you once. Some might stick with you forever. But the first people who joined me weren't, the random person that saw my social media post. They were the people who I directly reached out and contacted. So start thinking about who are those people who you are comfortable where you can shoot them a text, hop on the phone, give them a call, and let them know this is what you're doing, that you're starting a group, you're joining your coach with the first group. If you've already been doing some of these programs and products for a while, you might already have part of your story built up and that foundation set where you can share why you're so passionate about this, why you think this would be a good fit for them, and ask them. A very common first sale for a lot of coaches is signing up their spouse. Now, in the beginning, it may not make a whole lot of sense and why would this happen, but I know in my very first training call, I was told, if you sign up your spouse as a coach, it puts your spouse at the top of your business center. Now, I didn't understand the whole binary system of a MLM and that you have a right leg and you have a left leg, and that as you add people underneath, your business and your business grows, volume builds. I knew that someone said to me who was well established in this business to sign up your spouse first, because if you're in it for the long haul and you build a team, you will benefit from having your spouse at the top of your downline and you'll be able to build income under them. And I was like, okay, therefore I signed up my husband. A lot of people will sign their spouse up with something like the 3-day refresh. Obviously make sure they know. Don't be like, it's like, can't just go do this behind their back, because you would be signing them up as a coach. So they can do it. You can do it together. 3-day refresh is probably the most common thing. Obviously, if you have something like the 9-week Control Freak bundle, you have Beachbody On Demand already. Maybe you already have Shakeology or Performance Line, whatever it is. So 3-day refresh is a common one to sign people up with, or sign a spouse up with. I currently get my Shakeology through my account, and then the Performance Line goes through my husband's account. So that's kind of how we keep the two things going along. But that is a common one, and I'm not going to go into the whole ins and outs of signing up a spouse and why it's so important. There's lots of YouTube videos out there, but if you're in it from a business standpoint and you're in it for the long haul, understand that there are financial benefits to getting your spouse signed up as a coach early on when you're building your organization, because down the road it will build volume and it will have a financial impact greater than signing them up, later. Like I said, best friends, siblings, those are the first couple people. Now, when you sign up your first 2 coaches, that is what will get you to Emerald. That is your first rank. Now, I said left leg, I said right leg. When you sign up 2 people, it should automatically default right leg, left leg. And I know when my coaches sign someone up, I'm always looking to make sure they go to the right spots. Hopefully your upline is checking that too. Not that it's their responsibility, but be aware of that. It should default 1 on each leg. That is what would get you to Emerald rank. That is your very first recognition milestone. And that is also when you begin unlocking the volume perks of the business and the cycle earning opportunities. So our first month, we're thinking, who are the 3 people who we can get? Now, a list of 3 won't be enough. I would say make a list of at least 10, maybe 15, maybe even 20 people who you already know, love, and trust you, who you could reach out to come start this with you. And your goal would be to get at least 3 of those people to commit 2 of those, signing up as coaches or discount members, whatever you want to call it, would get you to Emerald. And I have some language later on that goes a little bit about the language, but I just look at it this way. When I started as a coach, I wasn't in it for the business. I was in it for the discount. Because at the time, we were barely making ends meet. And to be honest, $16 a month on Shakeology was like, it gave me this whole new realm of $16 to spend somewhere else. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why wouldn't I want to do that? Like, that's a no-brainer. So I always offer my customers that option because I know, to me, I am a former accountant, so like I'm always into numbers and the best deals and the best, like that is just the way my brain works. So I always let my clients know the same thing. Most of mine start off as a coach because they understand that the discount opportunity, and they understand that most of them aren't just buying Shakeology or Performance Line. They're probably all doing at least Shakeology and Energize, if not adding in some collagen or beach bars or something, because that's what they see me drinking and sharing. So the discount option just makes sense. But obviously customers work just the same. 3 people will get you into where you're actually going to earn back what you initially invested. So there's not too many businesses that you can help 3 people and earn back the investment it took you to get started, but in this it would. So you'll hear those numbers, 3 people a month, come in time and time again, but a couple things it's going to help you hit what we call Success Club, which is just this little benchmark each month that we measure on people who are bringing on new people each month. 2 of those 3 are coaches. You're going to be able to hit that first rank of Emerald. You're going to be able to earn back the initial investment it costs for you to even get started. And then we have a Success Starter program, and it will qualify you for the first month of that. And one of the best things with the Success Starter program is that if you hit it 3 months in a row, God willing, we have Summit next year, you can actually earn your Summit ticket for free. Summit's our big annual meetup. That's how I got to Summit my first year, was because I earned the ticket. I don't know if I would have gone without it, but it was a huge push for me. So that's another thing that happens when you are able to help those first 3 people in that first month. So how are we going to get there? Obviously, it'd be cool if you make your list of those 10, 15, 20 people and you reach out and they just join you. And honestly, that might work for month 1 or maybe even month 2. But eventually, it's going to come down to how are you building and growing your business through the conversations, through social media, through whatever networks you have, so that it's not just these first 10 people, that your list and your funnel begins to grow. And this is how we build that funnel. This is how we build our list of people who are going to be able to contact. It's through the business activity tracker. Are you guys all familiar with this? Like, if you've seen this, hopefully you have. You hopefully have it already printed out and it sits on your desk like it does mine, and it's something you go through every single day. But this will just give you a little excerpt of what it looks like. Up here at the top, you have workout and drink Shakeology. That should be a pretty much no-brainer. You can't be selling a thing if you're not using it. You can't be telling people how great the programs are and how much better you feel in your digestive system from Shakeology, or how much that Energize knocks your socks off first thing in the morning, if you're not actually using the products. So using the products here at the top should be the easiest 2 check marks everybody makes every single day, because you're just being proof that these products work. This is what builds a foundation for your own story. This second part here is really where most of your time is spent. If you hear people talk about power hours, or somebody's going to host a power hour, or we're going to get together and work on a power hour Zoom for an hour, this is what you're doing through that for the most part. There's also some really good calls or like live videos in the Beachbody Champions page. Awesome resource. Any coach can be a part of it. Just search Beachbody Champions on Facebook. You just have to enter your coach ID, but it's just a place where different people in the network share different tips and things that are working. And power hours are one of the things that you'll see. Anytime you hear someone talk, whether it's the National Wake Up Call on Monday mornings, or in any of these Beachbody Champion lives, or whatever it is, they're going to talk about what they're doing that's making them a rock star or helping them grow their business. And it's this stuff. It's this stuff on a rinse, repeat, and over, rinse, wash, repeat over and over every single day. And there's a little, you'll see here, like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, this is kind of based on an hour and 40 minutes. Think about it this way. If you have maybe half that time, maybe you only have like an hour, cut each of these recommended times in half. The goal is to get through each of these things every day, because you can't just do things once and hope that everyone's going to come knocking down your door. This business is built on consistency, not only in your own journey, the same way you can't just do one 9-week control freak sample and be like, oh my gosh, I could sell this program to the world. You have to do it every single day and complete it before you're able to show the results for it. So your daily to-dos here, where we're connecting, inviting, and following up with people and growing our network, those things you have to continuously do every day. Now, the way this tracker runs, you'll see at the top, it starts on Thursday. That's because our Beachbody Week starts on a Thursday. If it's confusing to you, you can always scratch this out. I do, and I make it like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't always go through all of these things on Saturdays and Sundays. I'll be honest with you. My goal is to go through them all Monday through Friday, and then I use more of the weekends to follow up, to kind of unplug, be with my family, that kind of stuff. So if you're, depending on how your days work, maybe you're doing more on the weekends and less through the week, depending on what your schedule looks like. So running through these things, just so you guys have a good understanding of what each of these mean, and initiate connections and adding followers. So the last thing we want someone to do is sign up as a coach and then go send a message to every single person they know and say, I just signed up as a coach. Will you come join my challenge group? Because sometimes those people, you maybe haven't talked to them for 10 years since high school, or, maybe ever in person. And now here you are inviting them to come do this thing. I do encourage you to do that with that dirt list. The people who you already know and love and trust, and those people that you're talking to, that you can do that too, because you're just having that conversation and telling them. But you don't want to be blasting people on social media who you don't already talk to regularly, telling them they should come do this and this is why. You really want to cultivate that community, that relationship with them. And that's what this whole thing is geared towards. Not spamming people and telling them that you've got this new business, but really connecting with them and finding people with like interests, like-minded, individuals who you wouldn't have otherwise came across without the glory of social media. And then getting to a point where you're going through these steps and you'll get to that point in the relationship with them where you can invite them to be a part of your group. So that's why doing these things each daily is important, because if you're not connecting and adding new followers, down the road, you're not going to have new people to invite. So it's kind of like that snowball effect. If you do a little bit here, your funnel of people to invite down the road will go and get bigger. If you're not inviting here and you only have that little list of 10, 15, 20 people that I asked you at the beginning of the call to think of, once you get through all those, if you're not adding new, then you're out of people to talk to. So when you're initiating connections and you're adding followers, you want to look for people who you have something in common with, whether it's a brand of clothes, a brand of food, a place you like to go out to eat when we can go out to eat, a place you like to travel to, visit, brands, whatever it may be. And this is where you're looking to see who can you actually connect with. Maybe you see something, a lot of it will be like right now I'm homeschooling half the time 2 kids, or hybrid schooling them. So some of my connections might be with other moms who are sharing similar things about homeschooling their kids or hybrid school or whatever it might be. I like to look at people who have the little red circle around them from Instagram stories. And the reason I like to focus on these people is because if they're using Instagram stories, I feel like they're more likely to actually respond back to you and have a conversation. So if it's just a random person who follows a similar account that you might like, and they're not actively posting or actively using social media, then it's a little less likely that they're going to respond to this random person who's like, oh my gosh, I totally felt the same today, or whatever it may be. So I like to focus on the people who, for example, I'll show you, like this shirt here, it says Prosecco, ho, ho, ho. It's my Prosecco Christmas shirt. It's from a place called Saturday Morning Pancakes. I really like Saturday Morning Pancakes. I wore a sweatshirt from them yesterday where it had a Christmas sleigh on it, and it said, slay my name, Destiny Child, say my name, say my name. I don't know if anyone's going to get that. But anyways, I like rap songs that turn into catchy little phrases, right? So I love that company. They make me laugh. They make me smile. I like their comfy casual clothes. So I can go under Saturday Morning Pancakes and be like, who else follows them? I'm not trying to get Saturday Morning Pancakes to come be a coach on my team, but who else follows them that I might have something in common with? So I might look at their followers and I might scroll through, and if somebody has, the active Instagram story thing, watch through those stories and just connect with people. Respond to their stories. When you respond to somebody's story, you end up in their inbox. So it's just an easy way to create a conversation. Now, I do recommend setting a timer, because you can end up going down a rabbit hole of scrolling through social media. So like I said, let's say you only have an hour, because I feel like an hour and 40 minutes is actually a pretty big chunk of time for this. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Initiate connections. If it's somebody who you really think you have something in common with, add them as a follower. The idea of adding somebody as following somebody is that they follow you back. Hopefully they follow you back, and then you can continue to follow them, create that relationship. That's all this part is. This part is not inviting people to be a part of your group. This is not following up with them. This is strictly just being social on social media. That's what the whole thing was invented for. The next thing here, do a post on social media that showcases the benefits of your lifestyle or has a call to action. You'll see here the stories part. I actually have a call to action in my stories pretty much every day. I don't have a call to action on my posts every day, but several times a week I'll have a call to action depending if I'm inviting to, the coaching opportunity or challenge group, whatever it may be. You don't need to post a lot, but you do need to post consistently because you want to be showing up every day somewhere. I usually post once on my Instagram page. Very rarely do I do more than once. Now that we have reels, I like to mix up and add some reels. I actually haven't done a reel for a little while, but I was really consistent with them there for a while, and they help because they're usually like totally different and fun, and they show your personality, and it can help you connect with different people you may not have connected with otherwise. But it can be a reel, it can be a post about what your workout, your food, whatever it is. You want to just make sure you're showcasing more than just you, the coach. Because you're not just you, the coach. You are, a mom, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're, raising your grandkids, you're taking care of your parent, whatever it is about you, you want to share those things. And your post should be a variety of your life beyond just you as a coach in fitness. It should include other parts of your life. So I only do one typically on Instagram. Sometimes on Facebook I might do two, depending on like if I do something with my kids that day. Like I think I had one 2 nights ago. I had posted in the morning about 9-week control freak, but then I had a post about my daughter up later in the evening. So it just depends. But on Instagram typically once, and then on my Facebook feed once, maybe twice. But stories is really where I have fun with it, and this is where you can really share anything. Like anything goes. I usually have somewhere between, I'd say like 10 to 15 stories in a day because I do share my workout every day. You don't have to share your workout. I have actually been told by people who have joined with me that one of the things they liked to see was that they could see me working out. And when they saw me working out, they then could see themselves in my shoes. So it helped show them exactly what to expect. So people told me that before, where it's kind of stuck in my mind that by showing the workouts and what I'm doing, people are able to see exactly what they're getting into, so to speak. So I do show my workout clips every single day. I just hit the little hands-free option on Instagram stories, record a couple clips. I don't do anything with them while I'm doing my workout. After my workout's over and I save them all down, then I'll actually put them up with my stories. I share, my morning routine, whether it's I listen to a meditation app every morning, so that I usually share a quote from that app. If I'm reading, a different book that I'm reading, I might share something like that. So I want people to see that consistency, because that consistency in my morning routine, in my daily life, it flows through to the way I run my challenge groups, the way I run my business. Like it's all connected. I will share often my shake, but I rarely ever say don't ever say here's my Shakeology. Yesterday I had a picture of it and I was talking about how I literally eat the same thing for breakfast every day, and I put a poll up. Do you do the same thing every day like me, or do you like to switch it up? So that just gave me an opportunity to put a poll up that had nothing to do with the business or challenge groups, but it gave me an opportunity to connect with people. Do you eat the same thing, or do you switch it up every day? So it was just something different. That was how I shared my shake yesterday without actually saying anything about shake. It just had, I had the shake there. Same thing with my Energize. I do a little Energize dance party every morning. There's a bunch of coaches on our team that we all tag each other. And I mix up my Energize. I don't ever say this is Energize. I might call it my morning go-go juice. I might say this is my liquid dose of sunshine. Puts a little pep in my step when I wake up. Whatever it is, I talk about it. I just don't say what it is. But then when somebody says to me, what do I need to do to join your group? I'm like, and I'm explaining to them what's in the challenge packs. I can say, there's Energize and Recover, the Energize, that's what you see me drinking in the morning. And then the other one comes with Shakeology. That's what you see me eating every day for breakfast. It comes with, I eat it with my banana peanut butter toast. Like people who are following along and watching, and you're consistently sharing, then when you have those conversations with them, it all makes sense. So that's how you can share product use without actually saying the names of what you're doing. Because then it creates that credibility that then what you're telling them they need in the boot camps, to join your challenge group, that you're doing it too. Meal prep, this is an awesome way to use reels. I actually did one the other day of making a spaghetti squash and how I do spaghetti squash. I took all the videos as I did it. I haven't actually put it into a reel, but that was something I was going to do because people are always looking for tips to make meal prep easier, different meal ideas. So if there's something super simple or really fancy that you do and that you love, share that. You'll see what people respond to, and then that will help you understand what you should do more of. But this stuff doesn't have to be, it's not like extra things you're doing. Like, we're all eating every day. We're all doing our workouts. We're all drinking our shake. So it's not necessarily any more work. It's just documenting it. And I will say, I rarely document anything real time, anything. I take the video and I save it, and then I put it up later. Like I said with my workouts, I'll take the videos of my workout, but I'm not going to stop in the middle of my workout and try to like add text and put things on my stories. I do it all later. So don't feel like you have to be doing it in the moment. Same thing with dinner. If I might cook a dinner, like the night I made the spaghetti squash, I'm recording the video pieces. I didn't sit down and put the videos together before I had dinner with my family. Like, I took a couple pictures while I was cooking and they were running wild through the house. But then when we sat down to we ate. And eventually I'll put that together and I'll share it on social media later. So keep in mind, I don't want people to think like they have to constantly be documenting every single day, part of their day. I usually like bulk upload things. Like, I'll like put everything together for my morning, and then I'll put everything together after my workout. And I kind of do things in sections throughout the day. That's just what works for me, to be able to still share, but not feel like it's taking over my life. Call to action, it's really easy when you're sharing your workout clips. Like today, I did the 9-week control freak sample workout, and then I just talked about like what the workout entails. And I said, we're forming our group now, and I added a poll at the end of it. If you're interested in either the sample or joining the group, let me know. And I put a poll up. So the call to actions, like I kind of intertwined this whole invite, promote a group call to action in with when I shared my workout clips. And I do that most days. I'd probably say I add some form of a call to action on my workouts like 4 days a week. I just kind of add that in. This part here, responding to new likes, comments, and views. Again, part of being on social media is being social. So when somebody comments on your post, comment back. If they like them, tell them you appreciate the support on your post, that it means a lot, that you're sharing, you're putting yourself out there, and you appreciate that they're following along. Same thing in your story. That is one of the easiest ways for me to connect with people, is to go back and see who's looking at my stories. Who can I connect with through my stories, and just say, oh my gosh, I saw you following along my stories. It's super great to connect with you or reconnect with you, and then you can kind of expand from there. And I have some examples later on here to share with you guys. But just make sure that at this point, like at some point, you go through each day, because some people, when you talk about your new group that's forming or this new program that just dropped, and you make a post about it, it's easier to like it than to actually comment and say, hey, I want to do this, or hey, can you give me more information? It takes a lot of courage for people just to hit like, let alone comment. So if somebody gives you a like, make sure you acknowledge that, because that person, that could be their way of saying to you, like, I want to do this with you. But they don't actually have the courage to say, like, I need the help. So don't discount the likes on them as well. And then also the same with the story views. They're watching your stories, and you might have that call to action. If you want information, respond to this poll, and they don't touch it, but they watch your stories. And then tomorrow they watch your stories again. And the next day they watch your stories, and you see that they're still watching your stories. That's when you get to say, hey, keep seeing your name pop up here each day. You're, following along. Are you interested in doing it with me too? And it gives you the opportunity to connect with them. So that's why going through this, this part here, responding to the likes, is so important, because it helps you see whose eyes are on your stuff, who's following along, who's maybe loving on all your stuff that has nothing to do with fitness, but maybe they're, following along the family stuff, and, they're still following along. It just helps you see who's watching your stuff. This next part here, and you'll see that part actually has the biggest time slot allotted to it, right? Like, so that is so key. Inviting people. So this is where you're legit inviting. Now, if you're going through these steps each day, you're having the conversations, connecting with them, adding new followers, and you're still carrying those conversations on, you'll be able to get to a point where you say, and like I just said, you're following along on my stories, are you interested in joining me? Are you interested in being a part of this group? Can I send you the sample workout to try? And that is the actual physical act where you have to say to people, are you in? I will say I was never invited to this opportunity. I don't know who on here was invited versus asking for it. You want to drop it in the comments. I feel like it's always interesting to see who was actually invited and who reached out. I was someone who actually reached out to my coach. She did an awesome job at publicly sharing the perks of the business, that she just looked so happy, and I rolled my eyes at her for the longest time. And then eventually I got sick of being like good for her, and I was pretty much like, why not me? I reached out to her. I was one of like super easy sale. I signed up, and obviously have been in here ever since. So I think it's interesting when you kind of in between, I was invited, like if you were invited, then hopefully you understand the power of that invite and how important it is to go out and invite other people because you were invited. And if you were someone who reached out, you understand the power of your posts and how important it is to put yourself out there because somebody else needs to see what you're sharing. And then the last thing here, follow up. Some method of tracking, whether you just use, right now I literally have a yellow notebook. This is my follow-up list right now. I've done fancy things. I've done it through Gmail or Google Streak. I've done I have like that Rise Up planner. When I was way more organized and actually sat and worked in my office every day and wasn't schooling children, I was more diligent with using the Rise Up planner every day. And now it's just like a notebook, and sometimes it's screenshots. But a method is my point of following up with people, because people are going to forget. I don't know how often that you peek at something. Maybe you're like going to pick up something from your Target drive up order, and you open your email and you look and you read it, and then, oh my gosh, here's the lady at your window, and you close it. Whether you're looking at an email or a text message from somebody or whatever it is, there's that meme that's like, I either text back embarrassingly fast or not at all. And that's how I feel like I am. Like if I'm there and you text me, I'll get you right away. But if I'm busy, chances are I'm never going to respond to you again. Like I just don't. So the way I am with text messages, I feel like some people are with their Facebook inbox or their Instagram inbox. Like they see it, they're interested, they just forget because they're not looking at it every day. So keep that in mind, that the people who you've invited that have said, yes, I would love more information, or you reach out to your best friend and you're like, hey girl, like I'm doing this thing, would you be interested? And they're like, absolutely, send me the information. And then you don't hear from them again. And you're like, well, they must not be interested. Well, no, you have to follow up. You have to be the person who reaches back out to them and follows up, because they probably, like their kid got a bloody nose or a broken bone or needed stitches or whatever it is. And all of a sudden their whole priority shifted, but they still want that. They just need you to follow up. So I spent a lot of time walking through this, but it's important to understand what each of these things mean, because this is what we do. This is what we do, rinse, wash, repeat over and over again. And how much time you spend and how many people you invite and how many people you follow up with can grow and change depending on how many, what your goals are and how many people you want to help each month. The rest of the business activity tracker, still just as important. Number 3 is getting people results. So contributing to the challenge group. If you are co-running your group with your coach, be very thankful that you are part of a team that allows you to co-run things with you, and you don't have to do it all on your own, but be the challenger that you want to have. So lead from the front. If your coach is already taking care of, scheduling out all the posts and putting the daily check-ins in there and doing all those things, then you need to show up as the best challenger possible. Because anybody you bring on board, they don't know me. They don't care what I say or what I post or what I talk about. They're going to watch you. So you being the best challenger in the challenge group, if you're not leading it yourself, allows anybody who you add to the group to see you as a leader as well, and follow in your footsteps and follow in what you're doing. I ran my groups with my coach for the first 3 or 4 months. I think it's an awesome way to learn, to get an understanding, to really see like, okay, what am I supposed to do? But then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, like I feel like I have a good handle on this, and I want my coaches to follow me, my customers to follow me, not her lead. And then I later broke off. Just make sure you're contributing, because your people are going to follow you. Recognizing achievements. I love little sweet messages from my coaches that tell me how great they feel, how many pounds they've lost, whatever they're sharing, because all of that becomes content. When somebody tells me, oh my gosh, I just wore a pair of jeans I haven't worn since, 7 years ago before kids, that's screenshotted and getting up in my stories, because that's now validating that the group I'm inviting people to be a part of, this thing that I'm talking about, other people are doing too. When somebody says to me, okay, I'm in, sign me up, I screenshot that. Because now people can see that the thing I'm talking about, other people are saying, yes, I'm going to do it with you. All those things that might seem so little and insignificant, like no big deal, like they're just the conversations, those are the things that give that credibility for somebody, some outsider looking in, to be like, okay, I see what she's doing, and it all builds. Somebody's going to have to watch you for a week. Somebody else is going to have to watch you for a month. I had a girl message me that I was talking to, actually invited her with the sample. She had responded to a poll on my stories, and I said, can I send you the sample? And she goes, I have watched you for years. I don't know why I never reached out to you before, but this program looks like something I could do. And when she says 4 years, part of me like kicks myself, because if you've been following me for years and I haven't yet connected with you, like shame on me. Somehow I should have seen your name pop up and messaged you. But it took her years to actually say something to me as well. So realize that like this stuff all takes time, that consistency showing up, and you never know what one post will connect with one person, or what one thing you might share on your stories will connect with that one person who needs it at that exact moment. So I love recognizing things other people share and say and do in my story. They don't usually put their name. I usually just screenshot it and, cut their name out or whatever. And then just, making sure you're responding to questions you might get from your customers or coaches. And then the last thing there is personal development. Hopefully your coach has recommended some book at some point for you to get started with. The Slight Edge, The Compound Effect, those are 2 books that are great to start with, not only for your personal journey and just mindset, but also for the business. Compound Effect was the first book I read by Darren Hardy, and it really helped me understand how, what's just going to be 1 workout or 2 workouts in the same way. It's not going to be 1 healthy meal or 2 healthy meals, that it's that consistency over time. Super easy to read, not very long book. I'm not a reader at all. I like to listen to things, but that was one that I feel like if I could read it, anybody could read it. So Compound Effect is a great book to start with, and The Slight Edge is another good one. But if you have kind of read the base ones, talk to your coach, because depending on your story and where you are in your journey, we have endless recommendations. It really just is a personal preference of where to go from there. So I want to talk just a little bit about your post and what you're sharing and how you can really leverage 9-week control freak with that. So of you guys who are, on here, who's all doing 9-week control freak? Hands up. Most hands are up, I feel like. So I feel like this gives you a little bit of an extra opportunity because nobody's done it yet, right? Like there's a couple people who were in the test group, sure, and they did it, so fine. But the bulk of the people haven't done it. Nobody has tried it and not liked it. You have an open playing field of what you get to do with this. The only people who I feel like they said they shouldn't do it is if you're pregnant. So I feel like that is one thing. Autumn was pretty adamant, like if you're pregnant, they shouldn't be doing this program. But otherwise, I feel like everybody should be doing it. And I think about how it was when I started 21 Day Fix and how I got really good results with it. And when I shared it and people wanted, I shared what I was doing and how I got the results, they were just all in because they saw what I was doing and there was nothing else to compare it to. They just did that program I did. And I love a program launch for so many reasons, but it gives us such an opportunity to be the first to share it, be the first to talk about it, and realize that if you have other coach friends on your newsfeed and you think 9-week control freak is what everyone's talking about, realize most of your friends don't have a bunch of coaches on their newsfeed. Most of your friends probably only have you or maybe a couple other people who they may know, and they're not seeing it. So it gives you the opportunity to be the person who's sharing the amazingness of this program for the people who are in your social media circle to see it, be introduced to it, come in contact with it, and then commit with. So we have a couple things. I'm so glad they gave the sample because now we have something that not only we can do, but we can give. That has been the way that I have been leveraging my social media posts to be able to connect with people is, I did a post about it launching. I did a post again about how much I loved it. And then taking it, if anyone's interacting on your post, liking it, whatever it may be, and saying, I'm so excited for this new program that's coming out. I just got a sample. Would you want to try it? It's totally free. Most people aren't going to turn down a totally free sample workout. Even if they never do it, they're probably not going to tell you no. And that's when you have the opportunity that if you offer, you're just giving, right? You're just giving them this free workout. So that's when your tracking becomes super important, that you're writing these people's names down. But now you have someone else to follow up with. Now you gave them something. And now you're going to have something to invite them to if it's something that they actually want to do and commit with you. So as you're doing, as you're thinking about what you're sharing on social media, I think so many times people completely freeze because it's like, I don't know what to post, so I'm just not going to post anything. The best thing is to just post whatever you're going through, whatever workout you're doing, whatever book you're reading. So much of the content that I pull is from either things the trainers will say. Like I will pause my workout if I've been doing bar blend. So I feel like Elise always drops just amazing little one-line things that I can share on my social media. But a lot of things I share or just things that the trainers say to me or that I'm reading in my personal development. Like that's where my content comes from, something that resonates with me. So if you like going through this routine each day where you're reading or listening to something on personal development, you're doing your workout, when it comes time to crafting my post, so much of what I'm saying is pulled from there. As I've been talking about 9-week control freak, having the sample allows me to just take it from connecting, giving them something, and then putting them on that list to follow up with. Your journey will hands down be the greatest thing that you can use as an asset in your business. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be this 50-pound jaw-dropping transformation. I'm actually a solid 10 pounds heavier now than I was when I started coaching. So I don't have a big jaw-dropping weight loss transformation, but my body's changed, and I've changed as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, and those are how I'm able to leverage the business. So if you have a really great physical transformation, use it, share it, be proud of it. And if you don't let that hold you back from sharing how this stuff is still transforming you in different ways. Because people may see, like I always think of, like, tell my coaches, your friends don't know me. They don't know my story. They don't know my journey. So you could share my transformation picture, but they don't know me and they can't relate to me or connect to me. You could put the words out there. They could read it. Okay, cool. But your people are going to relate most to your story and your journey because they're your friend or your follower on social media, and they're following you for a reason. So your journey, what you're going through, how you're transforming, that is going to be the best piece of business advice I can give you, is to just show up authentically as yourself. And if you feel like you don't know exactly what's, like, you can maybe you see things your coach shares and you're like, well, I can't write like that. It all comes with practice. And every morning I look at the memories on my Facebook page and I can tell you that my posts when I started were horrible. They were written bad. My call to actions weren't good. Some of them were super salesy, but I couldn't get better unless I started. So just start writing, start sharing, start crafting, and you'll begin to pull out different pieces of your story that will allow you to connect with other people. If you follow a couple other coaches, great. If you find yourself comparing yourself to them, unfollow them. I only follow a small handful of coaches because I don't want to find myself comparing them. I actually love when there's a coach that's so far off different from me that I could never compare myself to them, and then that's the type of coach that I'll follow. Other than my friends, like, I don't like to, like, you don't want to be constantly comparing yourself to where they are or what they're doing or how their business is growing. Like, find the people who are going to make you show up better, show up as the best version of yourself, but don't inundate your own feed with other coaches, because you want your feed to be full of the people who you're trying to attract, the people who you want to connect with. And those are the people who are then, you're interacting with them, and then they're going to interact more with you, because that's how Facebook works. Facebook only shows you the people who you're interacting with or who they think you'll connect with. And then there's so many people who I'm friends with on Facebook and I don't ever see their stuff because I don't interact with them and they don't interact with me. So you do want to make sure, like, as you're going through and initiating connections and adding followers or, adding friends on Facebook, connecting with the people who you want eventually, that you would want to be part of your team or part of your challenge groups or whatever it may be. And then the people who aren't your people, just, you can unfollow them or you don't have to unfriend them, but hide them so that stuff's not in your feed. You want your feed to be the people who you can most relate to. A few things with social media, I think I've said some of this already. One post a day is all you really need to do. 5-10 stories is a good place to start out with. Like I said, I usually go up to like 10 to 15 in a typical day. Think about what you're sharing and how you can add value. Can you make someone smile? Can you make them laugh? Can you make them reflect? Can you give them hope? Can you give them inspiration? And as you're writing your post, think about those things. What is this post going to do for somebody else? Give more than you ask. That's why, again, I just love that we have this sample now for 9-week control free, because we have such a great opportunity to give without requiring anything back from other people. We talked already about growing your following, and just a real quick thing on your social media bio here. Like, this is Instagram, which I actually just updated this, so this one's not what it shows right now. You can see what I changed it to, but make sure it doesn't say that I'm a coach here. You don't want to just come off just as a coach. Share things about who you are. I've got 2 kids. I'm very happily married. There's some creeper creeper people out there. So I really like to just leave that up at the top, happily married. I'm a former CPA. I own my own business. I love, freedom cookies. Here's my email. And then there's a link for different, links. If you click that link, it can take you to different things of how we can work together. But it doesn't say that I'm a coach, because I don't want people to be like, oh, she's a coach and assume something. I want them to know who I am as a person. And we have other calls that go into more depth. Like if you look in the team page, we have other calls more geared towards exactly Instagram or growing your following and different things. So if there's something specific you want to focus on, look through the files in the team page, or like I said, the Beachbody Champions page has awesome up-to-date relevant stuff that you might be able to grab, plug an earbud in when you're doing laundry or cooking dinner, or listen to a call that will give you some updated tips on, any specific area. Sharing your journey and sharing it consistently. If you have a hard time thinking, well, how can I, what should I be posting every day? This is just some ideas of what you could do to keep things consistent. If you have a hard time thinking, well, what am I going to post each day? Monday might be inspiration, whether it's words and a quote, or it's just you with your workout, or what you're thinking, what you're reading, something you pull from your personal development. Transformation Tuesday, I'm a big advocate of sharing transformations in different forms, whether it's fitness program to program or 10 years over or whatever it may be. Sharing your transformation constantly. I want people to look and see that I have changed, that I'm a different person now than I was today. And if they look through and read, they'll find out why and how. Maybe you add a tip on Wednesdays, maybe you share a recipe. Thursdays is always great to share something about coaching, because it's when we get paid on Thursdays. So you can kind of share something coaching has done for you. Friday, Fun Fact Friday, maybe you share a little bit random facts about yourself, or, food tip on Friday, ask people, what do we have in common? Just ways that you can share. And this Fun Fact Friday might talk about how I used to be a CPA and now I own my own business, where you can still share things that we do without it being just a sweaty selfie picture of you talking about your workout. Saturdays, I usually keep things light, maybe share something about my family. You don't want to use the stock photos. Like Autumn has some great things on her social media. She was doing the countdown before 9-week Control Freak launched. I could use those pictures in my stories, but I would never want to post one of her photos to my feed, because I want my feed to be me, not just stock photos or Beachbody things. I don't use a whole lot of apps. These are really the only ones that I use. Snapseed and Lightroom are what I filter my pictures with. Lightroom allows you to apply a preset. So if you've ever seen, I see them on Instagram all the time, preset ads that float across. I think I paid the $3.99 for my preset on Etsy. So it's not an expensive thing. It's an easy thing. It just kind of gives all your pictures the same color tone. And I just visually like it. You do not need it. It just visually makes your feed more appealing. You can also edit and lighten. Most of my pictures need lighten just because there's not a lot of natural light in my house. You can also do that. Snapseed does the same thing. Unfold is a way you can make some fun stories on it for Instagram stories. Word swag, I don't have one on that one, but when I type any sort of, I to use white quotes. Anytime I use word swag to do that if I'm typing something. And then pick, play, post. Let's see, when I put a side by side together, I use pick, play, post for that. So these are the only apps I use. There are bajillions more. Your options are limited. You can go in and look at photo editing tools or picture tool, whatever it is. This is literally the only 5 that I have on my phone. Bringing down to the invites, just a reminder, you do have to invite to grow your business. It is essential. Everyone has to do it. If you don't do it, eventually I like to think of attraction marketing, right? I want to put myself out there in a very inviting way that somebody can read my thing, they can read my posts, and I would hope that they read that and they feel comfortable just saying, okay, Megan, I'm in with you. But most people don't. Most people need to have that private one-on-one conversation with you where you say, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to learn more? Would you like to be a part of it? I want you to be in here. Most people need that individual connection. So your posts are great, but the invites are really going to be part of that aspect that's going to help grow your business. You can use voice is a great way. If it's somebody you know personally, you can text them versus using social media. I love to use the voice tool. So for example, I was going through people who were watching my stories, and I have this actually down here, but I had told them, hey, thanks for watching thanks for watching my stories, or I saw you thanks for keeping up with my stories. Is what I said. Thanks for keeping up with my stories. I'm super excited about this new program that's coming out. We now have a sample workout to share. Would you like me to send it to you? And so that was the message I would send to people who are watching my stories, because I was sharing about 9-week Control Freak all week long. And then when someone says yes, I'm like, okay, great. What's your email? Then they give me their email and I send them an email, but then I voice them back. I'm like, hey, I just sent you an email. You're going to see the link to the workout. There's also a link to join my Facebook group that I have put together where all of the people who have been interested in the program are gathering together. So I kind of use like a combo of like I sent the same copy paste text message out to the people who were watching my stories. But then when I was connecting with them, I sent the voice because it's a little bit more personal. So do it how you wish. I know in the beginning I was definitely super afraid to use voice messages, so I didn't use them at first, but it's such an easy way. It's fast, and it's a great way to connect with people. Then they hear your voice, and they don't think you're some robot just sending mass messages out, but you're actually a human being sitting behind the other end that actually is engaging with them. And that really helps you be excited when you're sharing with them. There are some examples I'm going to show you guys, and just don't overthink it. Like if somebody's watching your stuff or you think they'd make a great coach in your team or you want them to be a part of your next boot camp, tell them, ask them, invite them. It doesn't hurt when they tell you no. A lot of people will tell you no, and a lot of people will straight up ignore you, and that's okay. Because when I'm walking through the mall and someone like tries to spray perfume or say, do you want this? I just say, no, thank you if I'm not interested. And it doesn't hurt them. They're doing their job. And we're doing our job by inviting people to be a part of it. So realize that you're doing your job. You're giving people an opportunity. And you're here on this call because you're a coach. So at some point, something has happened where you have been impacted by this business opportunity. So I always try to, and I have it on my computer, but it says, I'm grateful somebody invited me. It's just written on a Post-it note that sticks on my desk. And anytime I think, oh my gosh, I really send them another message, or I've sent them 5 and they haven't responded, do I follow up again? I look at that and it says, I'm grateful somebody invited me. And I always tell people, I'm following up again, until you tell me no, I'm just going to keep messaging you. So if you're not interested, just tell me no. It's totally fine. I get it. And I'll give people that out, but I want to let them know that I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here when they're ready, and that I want them to be a part of what I have to offer. So understand that the invites I can tell you that I used to dread them. I would dread inviting and talking. And then I would say to my husband, I'd be like, I invited so-and-so and they said yes. And I'm like, this works. I don't know why I put it off for so long, but son of again, when people are watching and they're interested and you invite them, they will say yes. And it will be like the most amazing thing. And it's that affirmation, to yourself. It's like, this works. People need this. They need that human being who's going to root for them and cheer for them and help them and guide them and support them and tell them they can do it. And we get to be that person to other people. So don't overthink it. I want to give you guys a couple of examples here. And I'll take this Canva thing and I'll put it into a Google Doc. So when I share the recording from the call, I'll share the Google Doc link as well. So you guys will have these. But this one here, I joined a virtual accountability group. We're going to be doing this new 9-week program. I'm blown away with every aspect. I'm determined to get these 10 pounds off that creeped in during quarantine. Would you want to do this with me with us? So this would be a message you could send to other people. We can keep each other on track. This is a very much like somebody who you already probably know. Here's another example here. I have something to tell you. You know how much I love health and fitness. I just decided to join Beachbody as a coach because I believe in the products and programs. I want to take my passion and turn it into a business. I'd love to have you as my first customer and testimonial. Would you be interested? I'll give you the details. I love asking for testimonials. Like I said at the beginning, that's how I got most of my family started. Like, just help me get started. Just join me like for now. You don't have to stick for it forever, but I just want to try to get that, get up off the ground. And so many of those first people are still with me today. But I had to ask them. I had to say, will you be my first customer? Will you be a testimonial for me? This one here, like I said, I share transformations pretty frequently. And this has been kind of like my ongoing message that I send to people. Thanks very much for the love and support you gave my transformation photo. It used to be scary putting myself out there, but now the kind response people like you, I know could help one person get started. It's worth it. Have you been curious? So this is very much, I'm thanking them for, supporting my post, letting them know it used to be something that bothered me or I got scared about or I was insecure about, but now I know that by being vulnerable in that way, it opens the door to help other people. And then asking them, have you ever been curious? So sharing that piece, right? Like sharing that vulnerable piece about yourself and then inviting them along the way. This is for connecting with people, love on the post or watching your stories. Hey, Melissa, thanks for loving my post, watching my stories. Putting myself isn't always easy, but I'm on a mission too. What do you want a mission to? You on a mission to start your very first virtual boot camp? Or you on a mission to create your dream team of coaches for 2021? Whatever it is. Then you can say, are you following me for faith, fitness, wild mom life, or are you interested in learning more about what I do as a coach? This here is what I've been sending out. this week, you know, hey, Melissa, thanks for following along my stories. I'm so excited for this new program. Are you into home fitness? Would you be interested in trying the sample? I can send you an email. So again, super simple. The same, and like I keep all these saved in my notes because we do 3 program launches a year. I send the same thing out, like modified slightly for each different program launch. And then this year, this would be like someone who you would love to have on your team. Hey, Melissa, your feed's so inspiring. I think I just blew up your page. You have a powerful message going out. I'm always looking for other positive influencers. Have you ever considered being a coach? So that would be someone who you just see that you connect with, that you like totally jive with, and you're like, oh my gosh, I would love for this person to be on my team. Ask them. If they're not at all interested, I promise you they'll be flattered that you asked, that you thought that they would be a perfect fit. It's like when you're interviewing for a job and they're like, oh my gosh, you're the perfect candidate. Doesn't it feel good even if you don't want the job? So feels good. So think of that when you're inviting people as well. And then, like I said, signing people up as coaches, discount coaches, I was the person who needed the discount. I don't know that if I didn't know there was a discount that I would have continued on month 2 Shakeology. If I didn't know that there was a discount option to become a coach, would I have ever found this business? No idea, but grateful I don't have to worry about that and that I did. So I always offer that to other people. Here's just one example, and this is kind of like building it to the business side. Okay, let's get you signed up. This is someone who's already in, right? Would you be interested in signing up as a coach? And sometimes I say coach, affiliate, discount coach, VIP member, something along those lines. You can get 2 to 3 friends to do it with you. You could get your challenge pack paid for and save 25% on everything else after that. So 3 people, like we talked about at the beginning, right? 3 people is going to earn you back your what you pay in a typical challenge pack. So like if you bought the 200, I don't even know what the commission is on the 9-week control freak, but like a 160 challenge pack has a $50 commission attached to it. So if you paid 160 for a challenge pack, like a typical one, 9-week control freak's different because it has the equipment. But if you paid 160 for the challenge pack and you got 3 people to join with you, you get $50 for each of the 3 people, $150. So pretty close to earning your money back. So I always like to point that out to people, and you never know who that one person's like, oh my gosh, well, me and so-and-so used to go to the gym together, but the gym closed, so she might be interested in doing this with me too. I can reach out to her, I can ask her, and it just plants that seed to see if they have anyone interested. And maybe they won't today, but in a month when they're rocking the results, you can say, hey, remember when I asked you about your, if you had any other friends, like I'm sure people are asking you what you've been doing, your results are killer. Do you have anyone who wants to join us and be a part of it? And it just kind of helps carry that conversation forward. But if at any point in the first month you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed or this is too much, take a step back. And Katie Ersta had said this months ago and it had stuck with me before, but if you ever feel overwhelmed, really turn it into that you're feeling abundantly blessed, that you have this information, that you have this opportunity, that you have these people who want to be a part of it, that want your help, that want in on what we're doing, and turn your overwhelm into blessings, because it is. And I honestly, like, that is the mindset I go into when I'm inviting, when I'm working. Like the other night, 9-week control freak launch Sunday night, right? So it's like 10 o'clock and the links are live and I'm tired because I go to bed at 10 o'clock and I'm like all frustrated because I'm like, shoot, now I got to get all these carts out because people are excited. And I looked at my husband and I was like all just pissy. And I'm like, no, I need to be grateful because this work I'm putting in is because people are telling me they want to buy it. This is a gift. This is a blessing. I shouldn't be mad that at 10 o'clock at night Sunday, people were all excited. I'm like, this is a gift. This is a blessing. And sometimes you have to just remind yourself of that. Like, we do have an incredible opportunity, and you hold the opportunity to change the course of somebody's future, of their health, of their family, and everything that they touch in their lives. And when you realize that you have that, sitting behind a computer, sending an invite to somebody to join a boot camp, it doesn't seem like such a hard thing to do after all. So that's what I have for you guys today. Any other questions, anything that I can answer or help with? We're already at 1 o'clock, so long call, but thanks for hanging in there. I hope it was helpful. I'll get the recording up and I will take these slides and put it into a Google Doc so you guys have those as well. But if you have anything in the future, let me know. Happy to answer anything you guys have. And have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye, guys.